Hello everyone, that is episode 101 here, and I'm a bit ill right now, but that doesn't stop me from making rubbish videos for you guys to see. So, I am here with another announcement. Yes, another one. It's gonna be a little series for that's gonna be happening, and as you see in the title, it's gonna be the Thomas and Friends Train World Cup. Or just Train World Cup, the 2026 Train World Cup. As you can imagine, as the World Cup is the football World Cup is happening a couple of, maybe a week from now. Actually, not a couple of days when this video is being published. A couple of days from now, the World Cup will actually start. I decided, why not? Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun, and let's make a train World Cup. So yeah, and this can go whatever way. I have no idea how this is gonna. Well, I have an idea what I'm gonna do, but I don't know if you guys will enjoy it or something. But let's just try it. So the format will be very sim. Will be basically copying an old YouTuber. I don't know if you guys remember him, but he was called the Hero Channel. He was a Japanese YouTuber. I say he was because unfortunately he doesn't upload anymore. But he stopped uploading like 2 years ago. But basically he had this series which was, I don't know how to call it, but it was these videos, these sets of videos. Unfortunately, most of those videos are now gone. He either deleted or privated most of them. But three of these videos are still up. So to show you a premise of what it was, if there's no ad, please there we go. Basically, two trains would run around a track like this, and the goal was for one train to catch the other, and whoever catched the other train first would win. Basically, that was the whole premise of those videos. So yeah, those videos. I love those videos. Watching them back in the day. I it took me years to find them again. Yeah, there you go, Hero Channel. Um, and yeah, was uploaded 3 years ago, and he did upload some shorts, but he hasn't uploaded in like 2 years, I don't think. Let me check. Last I checked, he hadn't uploaded in 2 years. Well, actually, you cannot tell. Can you tell? Yeah, 2024. Yeah, he hasn't uploaded in nearly 2 years now. But yeah, we're basically copying that video series format thing he did with those the trains running around in a track. So we're gonna use hold on. We're gonna use this track, the layout I normally have. This one. So there's 16 engines as you probably saw. Round of 16 and quarterfinals will be using the inside track, this inside track, and semifinals and finals will be using the outside track, the one that's a bit more difficult because, well, it's one is longer and two it has the engines have some trouble going down this part. So the rules are if an engine derails, I am allowed to put them back on the track 3 times if they get stuck or they get derailed. So yeah, that's the rules. If an engine gets stuck or zero, and in the and that applies for Trackmaster 2 engines, which may get stuck in the switches and stuff. So yeah, hope you. That's all the rules I have right now. Maybe I'll come up with more later, but that's all the rules I have. Obviously, in Hero Channel's videos, it was a bunch of Puero engines, so obviously they wouldn't get stuck in the Puero tracks. So yeah, I think that's it, really. So yeah, as you can see, there's, as I said, there's 16 engines, and I've divided them into two pots, pot one and pot two, to do the draw. So we have in pot one we have Puero Thomas, Edward, Henry, James, Percy, Toby, Emily, and Galaxy. And in pot two we have Molly, Luke, Carly, Philip, Diesel 10, Dan, Owen Disco Thomas, and Railway Series Thomas. So yeah, Galaxy is the only OC here because Jerry and Ashley don't work. So, well, Jerry works, but he has no traction tires. So yeah, Galaxy is the only OC that's episode 101 character that is in the Train World Cup. Everyone else is a original series character. But yeah, So I have everyone right here. So let's do the draw. So let's see what's gonna be, if I can find the thing. There we go. What's gonna be our first match? It will be Henry versus, now going to the second pot. Henry versus All Engines Go Thomas. Ooh. So we have Henry. Everyone go back. I'm having trouble. There we go. Henry versus All Engines Go Thomas will be a match. It won't be the first match we'll see, but it will be a match. I don't know. Probably just gonna go in the order of the engine, so this probably be race 3. Kind of like soda races, I just realized this is gonna be, except it's kind of gonna be like the soda races, except there is it's just one track instead of 2 lanes, if that makes sense. So let's see what the next race we're gonna have. It's gonna be Galaxy OD. I don't think, I'm already gonna say this now. The old engines I have, like Galaxy, Luke, and Den, which are the 3 of the oldest, I think the 3 oldest Trackmaster engines I have that are still working. They're not making it very far at all. Like, at all, because their motors are old. They don't run very well. They're even if I clean them, they haven't run well. So yeah, Galaxy. I don't think, as much as I want Galaxy to do well because he's the only OC here. I don't think he's gonna do very well. Oh, and by the way, just to make everything fair, we're gonna give everybody Galaxy versus Luke. Okay, so that means one of them is making it out of the first round. I didn't expect any of them to make it out of the first round. They're arguably the 2 slowest engines in here. But yeah, Galaxy versus Luke. That's gonna be interesting. And as I was saying, every engine will have fresh batteries, just to make everything fair. Because it would be unfair if I used an engine that was that had low battery, uh, very low battery. And why did I only go down? I swear I put exclusive last version from stock wrong. So yeah, every engine will have fresh batteries for their matches. Emily versus Diesel 10 is the next match. Kind of wanted Emily versus Molly, but I rather it. I'd rather this be random. I'd rather do random stuff or random matches instead of me picking who versus who. If you get what I mean. So yeah, Emily versus Diesel 10. Next up, Percy versus. Percy versus Dan. That is gonna be probably the most unfair match in round 1. One of my newest engines against one of the oldest, and one of the ones that doesn't work, that still works, but it's very sluggish. So yeah, that's probably gonna be one of the most uneven matches there is in round 1. Fortunately, everything will level out in the quarterfinals. I hope. Next up, we have James, and he's gonna be taking on. Imagine Philip. That'll be funny. Why does all engines go? Hold on, let me just. Okay, so I deleted all the engines that were already selected. And I just realized I didn't put Philip in the original one, so I do apologize. Massive error for me. James versus Molly. Ooh, that is quite an interesting matchup. Battle of the Tender Engines. The only Tender Engine matchup we'll get in round 1. Because the only other Tender Engine there's left is Edward, and everyone else is a small engine. So I'll just delete these, just so we don't have any more issues. So next up, Edward will be taking on Railway Series Thomas. Ooh, that is an interesting one. Edward versus Railway Series. Let me. So yeah, Edward versus Railway Series Thomas. Kind of wanted a Puero Thomas versus Railway Series Thomas, but that's not gonna happen. So we have the 2 Trackmaster engines against 2 Puero engines. That is definitely gonna be unfair. But yeah, Edward versus Railway Series Thomas, it would be the apprentice versus his master, basically. That's basically how I see it. Well, Puerto Thomas's trash cards are also rotten, so I don't know. Maybe it will make it slightly fairer. But it's gonna be Toby versus Carwy. Toby versus Carwy, ladies and gentlemen. Which means that the two that haven't come out, Puerto Thomas and Philip, are the last match that was drawn, and probably gonna be the last. Or actually gonna be the first break probably because number one, you know. So let me wind these up. Alright, so now I wind them up in the order that they're gonna be. This video is already way too long for an announcement video, but oh well. So race 1 will be Puerto Thomas versus Philip. Race 2, Edward versus Railway Series Thomas. Race 3, Henry versus Owen Go Thomas. Funny how all three Thomases came out in the first three races. Race 4, James versus Maui. Race 5, Percy versus Den. Race 6, Toby versus Carwy. Race 7, Emily versus Diesel 10. And Race 8, Galaxy versus Luke. So there will be 2 races per video, so the next video will be these 2 races. Puerto Thomas versus Philip and Railway Series Thomas versus Edward. So stay tuned for that, and I don't think I have anything else to say. I think I explained everything. If you, hopefully you understood everything what I said, and if you didn't understand that, tell me in the comments, and I'll hopefully explain it. But, yeah, stay tuned for the Train World Cup. And, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Bye!